Good morning. Good morning. This kind of defines me today. I'm a little sleepy. I'm feeling October. I was talking to a few friends. I was talking to a friend over the weekend, and I've talked to a few other people last week who said October is always crazy. Like, I'm always tired. I'm always behind. There's all this stuff to do. And they're absolutely right. I always feel the same way too. It's like October hits, and I'm like, whoa. I have a list of stuff to do. And it's not like I'm prepping for the holidays or anything, so I'm not sure what it is about October, but here we are. Anyone out there this morning? Getting your coffee? Good morning, Mary. I guess I was a minute early. I'll give you guys a moment before I dive in, so grab your drink, your water, your coffee. There we go. We're getting some people in. Good morning. Good morning. So not only is it Monday, I'm also feeling October, but I do like the cooler weather. I went for a couple bike rides this weekend with my kids and was out and about a lot, just kind of getting outside, doing stuff with the kids. Remodeled my son's bathroom a little bit, was painting and redecorating and stuff. No Halloween costume yet. I'm not sure what's going to happen with that. I'm kind of like, I love Halloween. My kids love Halloween, and normally we do dress up and go trick-or-treating, but I don't know, we don't know what's going on, if anyone's going to be trick-or-treating or not. So we're kind of just on hold, but we have a lot of costumes we could use. So I'm kind of like, I'm not going to spend the money on the costume yet, because we have some we could use and just kind of see how it pans out. We'll see. How about you? Do you have your costume? Good morning. Good morning. All right, so we're going to be talking about another vitamin today. I'm going to educate you a little bit on the vitamin K. Not many people talk about vitamin K, so I thought maybe you'd like to learn what foods you can eat. Do you need to take a supplement? Can you supplement with food? What does it do? Why do we care? You know, all of that good stuff. So today we're going to be talking about vitamin K, all about vitamin K. Okay, K1, K2, we're going to talk about all that. Sound good? Biking, yes. I've been enjoying biking this time of year. Yeah, Jason, I'm with you. It might be uneventful. Try Elvira. I've actually been Elvira. The idea that my kids and I had that we really wanted to do if we had a Halloween party to go to, which of course our plans have been foiled by the lovely 2020, is we wanted to dress as the Simpsons and dress Piggy as Maggie. And I think Shay was going to be Milhouse, and Cameron was going to be Bart, and my husband Homer, and me Marge. But I think that would be hilarious, but we'll see. So no humidity in Florida, huh? Hardly any here as well. So it is a beautiful day. It's beautiful, great time of year to be living in Arizona. I will absolutely say we're now entering our season where we have beautiful weather from about October through May. And October can still get a little bit warm with some warmer days here and there at 106. I think it was 106 yesterday, but to be honest, like 106 in Arizona is not as hot as it sounds. You know, it's not the same as what we've been having in July. So it's actually been really nice to get out and about. So, all right, so let's talk vitamin K. You guys ready? All right, so many people are familiar with the other fat-soluble vitamins, and we talk about those a little bit more, right? We tend to talk about vitamin A, C, D, and E quite a bit, but vitamin K is another one, okay? Another fat-soluble vitamin that has incredible benefits to your health. In fact, just your everyday health. And we actually have a way to create our own vitamin K, which is really cool. So I'm going to talk to you about that, and I'm going to talk to you about how you can also make sure you're getting enough in your diet. Now, I'm going to say this multiple times throughout this live. I'm not someone who typically prescribes vitamin K. I'm not someone who says, oh, you need to take a vitamin K supplement. Now, there's some vitamin D supplements that have it in there. There are multivitamins that obviously have it in there, but very rarely will you hear me say, yeah, go out and buy vitamin K by itself, because you really don't have to. If you're putting it in your diet and you have a probiotic in the mix, you're pretty much taking care of your vitamin K. Now, there are some instances where maybe you need to add more, your doctor wants to add it in with vitamin D to get better absorption with calcium, things like that, and that's fine. But in general, it's not kind of something you go out and buy, which is why I think a lot of us really aren't aware of it. right? And what we can eat and what we can do. So that's why I wanted to talk about it today. There is an article at drpingle.com if you want to go back and reference some of the studies I'm going to talk about. For those of you that are new here, I'm Dr. Tricia Pingle. This is your morning checkup, and we're going to be talking about vitamin K. So, all right, vitamin K is a fat-soluble vitamin, okay? It is primarily metabolized in the liver. It is necessary for your blood to be able to clot and prevent hemorrhage. Now, this is a very important thing, right? If you don't clot, you bleed, right? We don't want that, right? So vitamin K is very important for that. In fact, the K in vitamin K, I've heard, refers to the German word coagulation with a K. Now, in America, we use a C for the word coagulation. Oh, my Lord. Coagulation. Oh, my God, it's Monday. But the German word has a K on the top. So that refers to the solidification of blood. Now, there are two main types of vitamin K. You have vitamin K1, and you have vitamin K2. Now, I want you to recognize the differences between these, okay? Vitamin K1 is what we get mostly from our food. Vitamin K2 is we can get some from food, but it's synthesized primarily by the good bacteria in your gut. So we actually make our own vitamin K, which is why I really don't spend a ton of time in supplementing it. More so, I go back to restoring the natural function of the body, because if your body is working well and you're giving it the right food, it will synthesize its own vitamin K. That's the beauty, right? So we don't necessarily have to give it. It is present in multivitamins. It is present in vitamin D supplements. That's fine. But let's talk about how you can naturally produce your own. And then you don't have to worry about it, right? So vitamin K1, so this is the one primarily from foods, okay? Vitamin K1 makes up about 75% of your consumed vitamin K. Vitamin K2 comes from the rest of that consumed vitamin K, okay? So vitamin K1 does play a huge role in blood clotting and avoiding hemorrhage, okay? Food sources of vitamin K1, very easy. Cruciferous vegetables, right? Leafy greens and cruciferous vegetables. If you're eating spinach, kale, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cabbage, arugula, dandelion greens, if you're eating a lot of green vegetables, you are likely getting enough K1, okay? It is in there. That is the best way to get it. And that is why plant-based diets do so well with K vitamins. And I think a lot of people ask me, they're like, well, should I take additional vitamin K? And I'm like, well, what do you eat? If you're not eating a lot of green leafy vegetables and getting those in there, then yeah, you might not be getting enough. But for the most part, if you're eating green leafy vegetables and you have good bacterial flora, which we'll talk about in a second, you should be getting enough vitamin K. Now, obviously, all of you have different health histories. Some of you may have genetic coagulation disorders. Some of you may have different types of things going on, and your doctor has advised you differently. Please listen to your doctor. I'm just giving you the education on a healthy working body, what it should need in order to function, right? So green leafy vegetables are key, as well as those cruciferous vegetables, which I would say are definitely on the top of my list. I don't think I go a day without eating cruciferous vegetables. I love broccoli, love Brussels sprouts, all of that. So I probably have plenty of vitamin K floating around. Now, vitamin K2. Let's talk about vitamin K2. Vitamin K2 is primarily synthesized by your good gut bacteria. Why do I recommend that everybody take a probiotic and really pay attention to their gut bacteria, right? We've talked about gut bacteria. It's involved in your mood, your heart, your inflammation, your immune system, your hormones. You name it, your gut bacteria are involved. The other thing that gut bacteria do is make vitamin K2. Okay, and vitamin K2 assists in all these things that vitamin K1 assists in as well. So you can actually make your own. And this is why the foods that are typically recommended for vitamin K2 tend to be prebiotic in nature, like fermented soy, natto is a good source of vitamin K2, sauerkraut, tempeh, kombucha, right? Now you can also get it from some animal-based products, egg yolks, chicken, and dairy. However, wouldn't be my recommendation. I would lean more towards putting in a really good probiotic and eating foods that feed the big bugs, these good bugs. I cannot stress enough how important bacteria is. And when we go through all these studies that we're going to talk about in a minute about vitamin K, you're going to see that a lot of the things that vitamin K benefits are the same that probiotics benefit. That is no coincidence. They work together, right? So if I'm like, hey, take probiotics for heart health, that's part of that has to do with the vitamin K component as well as bacteria helping with inflammation. So my big takeaway from today is if you want to improve your vitamin K levels, eat leafy greens and take a probiotic. Okay? That's my takeaway. Got it? Now, just so you know, vitamin K2 is responsible for regulating calcium in your body. Okay, so it supports the calcium in your bones and helps prevent calcium buildup in your blood vessels and kidneys. So that's lowering atherosclerotic buildup in the arteries and working against kidney disease or renal calcification in the kidneys, which is awesome. And then it also helps benefit your bone health, and we're going to talk about how. So for those of you out there with osteopenia, osteoporosis, bone density issues, it's not simply about calcium. And I've said that so many times, I know. It's not just about calcium. Calcium by itself does nada. It really doesn't do much except cause problems. It helps with muscle contraction and in lower amounts, does what it's supposed to. But if you're taking loads and loads of calcium for your bone health and you're not paying attention to the vitamin K, vitamin D, magnesium, boron, strontium, all of these things that help regulate what the calcium does, you could actually be causing more harm than good. Okay? So I always prefer the plant-based options plus a probiotic, okay? Now, studies have shown that vitamin K2 that's synthesized by your gut bacteria plays a, quote, significant role in contributing to vitamin K requirements, okay? So you don't need to take an additional. I haven't used natto a lot. I have a question about preparing natto. I really haven't used it a lot. I really should play with it more so I can give some suggestions. I know it's used a lot in Japanese cooking, and it's not something that I've spent a ton of time learning. It's like, everyone thinks I already know all these things. It's funny. As I've developed my plant-based diet over the past, 30 years, I learn something new all the time, and I pick a new ingredient and I start messing with it, and I just haven't played with natto yet. I need to. There's a Japanese restaurant down the street I have yet to go to that I really would like to try. I don't know if they're reopened yet, and I know they use natto, so I'm kind of curious to go and try it first and just kind of see how they prepare it and then see if I can come up with some recipes. So I may have to get back to you on that one because it's a constant learning process for me as well. If any of you out there have suggestions on how to use natto, share them, okay? Because I'd like to learn as well. Let me check a few more questions here before I go into the top 4 vitamin K benefits. William, prebiotic. I would do the prebiotic in foods. Probiotic as far as synthesizing the vitamin K. I'm sorry to hear about your phone, Fred. Hearty meals with cabbage and lamb in the fall. Is it sufficient? I think if you're rotating cabbage, broccoli, spinach, leafy greens, this is about a daily consumption of vegetables, right? So if you're someone that's eating a daily consumption of vegetables in good amount, I eat quite a bit, but I don't even know what the minimum would be. At least a few cups of good vegetables a day. I think you're pretty much probably hitting your requirement, particularly if you have good bacterial flora. Good gut health. That's probably even more important in terms of vitamin K than the diet portion of it. Can osteoporosis be fixed by only eating well, supplements, and exercise? I have seen it. Yes, I have actually seen bone density reverse with weight-bearing exercise, supplements, and diet. However, everyone is different. The progression of which it's gone to, how far along it is matters. But I have actually seen bone density tests reverse. Absolutely. And I'm going to talk about bone fractures and vitamin K in just a second. So bear with me because that's some really cool research there as well. Okay. Good morning. All right. I think I got all your questions. So let's talk about the 4 top benefits of vitamin K. I'm going to break it down. Just remember, K1, we're talking about leafy vegetables. K2, we're pretty much talking about bacteria, okay? So try to keep up with that because it's a good blend of both. To have both is the best way to go, okay? So let's talk about bone fractures. Yeah, that was the question. So vitamin K has been shown in research to reduce bone fractures by up to 50%. Right? Let's talk more. So it supports bone health. So there was a study where the researchers followed 440 postmenopausal women with osteopenia. So for those of you who don't know the difference, you've got your normal bone density, then you have osteopenia, which is pre-osteoporosis, and then you have osteoporosis where you're actually having a more a lessened bone density. So this is people in the middle, right? They're on their way to osteoporosis. So they were osteopenia. Now in this study, they took 5 milligrams of vitamin K1 each day for 2 years. Okay, so they were doing what was equivalent to a really rich diet in green leafy vegetables, okay? For 2 years, reduce their chances of experiencing clinical fractures by more than 50%, okay? In addition, they discovered that these vitamin K benefits to bone health were not due to increasing bone mineral density. They were actually due to increasing bone strength, so that when they fell, they were less likely to fracture. Now, keep in mind, like I said, bones aren't just about calcium. They're not just about vitamin K. There's magnesium, there's boron, there's strontium, there's manganese. There's all of these minerals in there that make up the bone matrix. So you have to look at all different aspects of it, right? If you just increase bone mineral density, it could still fracture, okay? So, this kind of goes into, if you fell, you would have less likely a fracture because the bone would actually be stronger. Likewise, there was a meta-analysis that looked at vitamin K2. So this would be the one that comes from the gut bacteria. They confirmed that 45 milligrams a day, which I'm not sure what would be essential with gut bacteria, but in research, they have to actually put the vitamin in to get the benefit, right? Reduced, but listen to this. Vitamin K2 reduced fractures by 77%. Those were hip fractures. Vertebral fractures, which are spine fractures, were reduced by 60%, and non-vertebral fractures by 81%. So K2 and K1 play a huge role in bone strength to avoid fracture. So if you're someone out there who has osteopenia, osteoporosis, poor bone mineral density, or maybe you don't, but you're getting a bit older and you have a higher risk of falling down, right? Vitamin K is an important part of your general diet. I would recommend eating more green leafy vegetables, cruciferous vegetables, and make sure you're on a really good probiotic, okay? And you can definitely also eat fermented foods to feed that good probiotic, okay? Also, most likely you're taking some sort of multivitamin in that case. There's probably some vitamin K in there. So there's really no need to go in addition. It's really just add the diet and the probiotic to really pull it all together, okay? Pretty cool though, right? I mean, 81% in non-vertebral fractures, 77% in hip fractures. I mean, that's the number one thing from osteoporosis that can really wreak havoc on an elderly person's quality of life when they break their hip. One fall and they're down, right? So, number 2, Sandra, I'm so sorry, sweetie. I can't give direct medical advice over social media. I would definitely call your doctor if you're having a symptom this morning, okay? Number 2, contains anti-cancer properties. So once again, all these vitamins and minerals we talk about have this anti-cancer effect, right? Why? This goes to show how good diet, really good diet, good gut health will actually prevent the top conditions that we see, particularly here in America. Because we're going to talk about anti-cancer, we're going to talk about cardiovascular health, and we're going to talk about diabetes next, right? Top 3 killers, right? So vitamin K has great benefit for against cancer. So in the same study that I talked about where they were taking K1 and had reduced fractures by over 50%, they also found that those who took that supplement experienced, listen to this, an astonishing 75% reduction in cancer incidence than those who took a placebo. Coincidence? I don't know. Another study in 2010 found that when people consumed vitamin K2, so this would be equivalent to taking a really good probiotic and making vitamin K2, When they took it consistently over a period of 10 years, they had a reduced risk of developing cancer. Moreover, if they did develop cancer, they were less likely for it to be fatal. So those of you out there have asked me about cancer therapies. When Dr. Pasenko was here and we talked about it, he talked about the benefit of butyrate, which is, very much involved in the gut flora, something the gut flora put off. You need to take a good probiotic. You need to make sure you're protecting your body with good gut bacteria. They are our friends. My kids would say, fish are friends, not food. They are our friends, and they need to be there, okay? We need to quit killing them off with antibiotics. We need those gut bacteria, okay? Number 3, vitamin K, and this should not surprise you because we know the benefits of probiotics on cardiovascular health, but vitamin K has been shown to support your cardiovascular health, okay? Cardiovascular disease kills people every day, okay? There's a cardiovascular event multiple times per minute. Cardiovascular deaths multiple per minute. We are dying of cardiovascular disease, okay? Cardiovascular disease is also one, I would say diabetes might be a little bit higher on the list, but definitely one of the most common risk factors for severity of COVID, right? And we're trying to figure out, how do we prevent it? What do we do? How do we move forward? You support your heart. You support your blood sugar. You support your health. Probiotic, vitamin K, right? So let me talk to you about this research though. It's pretty freaking cool. Okay, so there was a study on it was 560 postmenopausal women, okay? And they were regularly consuming vitamin K2, so the one from the bacteria, okay? 30% reduction in coronary calcification. So why? Well, we just talked about that, right? What does vitamin K do with calcium? It helps prevent it from landing in the arteries and causing calcification. What's cardiovascular disease? Ding, 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 calcification of the arteries, poor blood flow, high blood pressure, blockages, strokes, heart attacks, right? If we can reduce calcification in the arteries, we improve our heart health. Vitamin K is pivotal for that, and specifically the vitamin K that comes from your good bacteria in your gut. We can actually protect ourselves. Isn't that crazy? I think that's fascinating. You guys are probably like, wow, she's nuts. For you people that are new here, yeah, I get a bit excited, but it blows me away. We have all the tools we need to be well. We just don't use them right? On top of that, there was another study, and this was far larger, okay? It was on about 4,800 men and women aged 55 and older, okay? And they took vitamin K2 every single day, so the one that comes from the good bacteria. They reduced their risk of heart disease death by up to 57%. Now, if almost 60% of us could lower our risk of death from coronary artery disease by just making sure that we are getting a good amount of vitamin K, bacteria, nutrition, why aren't we doing it? That would take a load off the hospitals, yeah? So let's do it. Numerous studies on probiotics benefiting heart health, and that's no surprise, right? Because probiotics have a direct impact on lowering inflammation and heart health, and their antioxidant aspect, but also they increase your vitamin K2, right? Did I scare you guys off? There's one more, and then you can go about your Monday. One more. Helps improve insulin sensitivity. What's number 2 killer here in America? Diabetes. What goes hand in hand? Diabetes and cardiovascular disease. If you have one, you're at higher risk of the other, right? If you have higher inflammation, you're at higher risk of cancer. The top 3 killers in America are all linked together. And to be honest, they all kind of have the same treatment, right? Good bacteria, good nutrition, exercise, right? So vitamin K also helps our blood sugar. These studies, they were both vitamin K1 and vitamin K2. So one study looking at vitamin K1 rich foods. So they didn't use a vitamin K supplementation in this case, they just used vitamin K1 rich foods. So that would be your cruciferous vegetables, spinach, broccoli, cabbage, all that good stuff, reduced the progression of insulin resistance in older men. Additionally, there was another study in 2011 that looked at young men, 24 to 31, and supplemented them with vitamin K2, which would be the one from your bacteria. Insulin sensitivity was significantly increased, meaning that their ability to metabolize sugar was better, right? Less likely to go into diabetes type 2. The researchers state that this effect was achieved due to vitamin K's known ability to help regulate glucose metabolism in the body. Once again, you don't have to take a vitamin K supplement, guys. You just have to eat green leafy vegetables and take a really good probiotic. Watch your gut health. Okay? Our gut is essential. Food goes in and out that way. That is what keeps us alive. If we don't eat or drink water, we don't live. So what we're eating, how we're absorbing it is essential. We were built that way for a reason. We need to take advantage of the tools that our bodies have to keep us well, right? So to review, top 4 benefits of vitamin K: shown to reduce bone fractures by more than 50%, contains anti-cancer properties, supports your cardiovascular health, and can improve your blood glucose and insulin sensitivity. Okay, so go out and have a really nice salad for lunch or dinner. Get those green veggies in there, okay? If you're looking for a probiotic, I certainly carry one at TotalHealthApothecary.com. There are many probiotics out there. You can eat fermented foods. I want you to make sure your gut flora is top notch, okay? Particularly if you're dealing with poor bone health, cancer, prevention of cancer, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, right? We need these things. Sound good? All right, before I sign off, any more questions? You guys all got quiet there for a minute. Did I scare you off? I'll give you a second, and then I'm going to let you go because I got things to do today. October and Monday. It's crazy. Mix those two together. You get a busy day in the Pingle house. But thank you for all of your support. Thank you for being here. If you haven't signed up at drpingle.com for emails, please do, because we have specials that are always coming out. I release stuff all the time. You don't get that on social media. I have social media incentives, and then I have different incentives through my email list. So make sure you're on both so you get the benefits of both. You probably can't mention a brand of probiotics, but what are we looking for? Yeah, I can't. I can mention my own brand. I can't mention a ton of others, but I will tell you, if you look at the label of mine, it might give you some clues to the one you're taking if it's enough. I also have a couple articles, Wendy, at drpingle.com that talk about how to pick a good probiotic, right? But I have Total Probiotic here, which is at expiration is 20 billion organisms. Now, prior to expiration, it's far more than that. The reason I like it is because you know what the minimum would be. And a lot of probiotics label their probiotics with what is at the packing date and not what is at expiration date. So you could buy one that has 100 billion in it, but a week later it only has 5 billion and you wouldn't know. So mine is labeled for expiration. So you look at the expiration date. By that time, this is June 21, this probiotic will be down to 20 billion CFUs, okay? Multiple strains, Lactobacillus, Bifido. I really like Saccharomyces boulardii. The more strains that you can get in there, the better. But if you want an example, check out TotalHealthApothecary.com. You're welcome to order mine, or you can take a look at the label. There's also an information sheet you can click on and read more about the bugs, why they're important, research. So on all of my supplements, I like to include the research for you, okay, so that you can read about it. Where can you order the probiotic? My probiotic, TotalHealthApothecary.com. You can also go to my website, drpingle.com, and there's a link at the top, okay? Thank you. I hope you love it. It's my favorite probiotic. I take it every single night. The bitter. I could not find, Penny, I actually Googled, I went to Pinterest because you said that's where it was. I Googled that, what you were talking about, Franco Blanco or something. I couldn't find it. So I have no idea if it's a bitter or not. If you want to know what a prebiotic versus a probiotic is, I actually have a live on that. I believe the live is embedded into one of the articles on my website about probiotics. Check it out. So I try to embed these lives into the articles so that you can go back and get it, read it and hear it. But I have a ton on probiotics, so please go check it out, and definitely check out totalhealthapothecary.com, and you can read about the probiotic and look at the research there as well. Okay? I think that was it. All right. So anyway, thank you so much, guys. I will see you tomorrow, 9:15. For those of you that were new here, so nice to have you. Thank you for being here, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye.